full-on ball of sprout.
What can we keep out of that?
Hello!
Hello!
And welcome to What's on Your Plate?
A place for all things mood, food and well-being. So grab yourself a hot drink
Or a cold one.
and a plate of something and join us for What's on Your Plate.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We are finally recording our first podcast.
Proper diva start to the first podcast.
Exactly. We are going straight in with a Christmas special. I've even got my Christmas tree in the background. We're in tier 3 in Swale. Obviously, you're in tier 2, and you have a household. Single tier 3 issues trying to put up a 5-foot Christmas tree when you're on your own.
Oh no. Yeah, there's 5 of us here. Tier 2. Christmas tree is looking a little bare though, because nothing's arrived. The post isn't that good at the moment.
Oh, that's sad.
It is sad. It's a very naked Christmas tree.
Well, you could say it's like the new 2020, the Christmas tree of 2020. I think having a Christmas special is an amazing way to start because obviously we are thinking about food and mood and well-being, and all those things for me are very much something that plays on my mind when it comes to the Christmas season. Before we start, we want to just put out a disclaimer that we are not mental health experts or nutritionists, just 2 young women who are interested in well-being and studying it and the way food has an impact on it. We also want to put a trigger warning out just to say that we are going to be talking about food, and so if this isn't a podcast for you, then we appreciate you tapping play, but it is absolutely fine to press stop. I feel like I am really getting into the Christmas mood. As I said, Christmas tree is up. How are you feeling about Christmas so far?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling particularly Christmassy this year because of how 2020 has gone. However, I am very excited now that they have announced about the being able to go home from the 23rd until the 27th. Yay! So I'm super excited now. And we put our Christmas tree up during the week. As I said, it's a bit naked because nothing's arrived yet, which is a bit of a shame. And over the weekend, actually, we were going to put on. So have you seen Tenet?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
I went to see it at the cinema actually when we were allowed to go to the cinema, and that was amazing. We were going to try and see if we could watch that, but instead we decided to put on Home Alone, which I love.
Love it.
I absolutely love it. And afterwards we watched the sequel, so Home Alone 2.
Amazing.
I know. And I haven't seen that one for a long time, and I didn't realise that Donald Trump is in it.
No way.
And it was absolutely amazing. One of the funniest things I thought about the second Home Alone that I have to add is that I actually saw today somebody had made a meme about how Piers Morgan looks like the Bird Woman. And now I can't unsee that.
Oh my gosh, I totally need to search that after this.
It's really
That's
funny.
hilarious.
And they look exactly the same, so that was really weird. Something else I've been doing is obviously working with the students, which has been amazing, at Food with Friends Cafe in Ashford. And they've been making lots of Christmas goodies, which has been making my tummy rumble. I'm going to need to get my order in, to be honest, because the mince pie, sausage rolls, gingerbread men look amazing. My favourite out of this, I'm not really a mince pie gal. I probably like sausage rolls a bit too much. And gingerbread men are amazing. So just all the different decorations, and I just love gingerbread. What about you?
I do like gingerbread. I'm one of these people, like, I really like strong ginger. Have you ever had those chocolate covered gingers? Dark chocolate. It's so good.
Yeah, I think I have. I love dark chocolate as well, which is a bit, not many people do, right?
I do love a sausage roll. In fact, spoiler alert for Christmas traditions that we'll talk about later on, but a sausage roll is one of the breakfast options for Christmas. So
really?
yeah, only a mini one. But I have seen that they've got some mini Victoria sponges, and I think that's what I'm going to go in for.
I love Victoria sponges because they're deliciously plain.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that is so the tagline. Victoria sponge, deliciously plain.
Deliciously plain. Yeah, they are. there's not all the bells and whistles. It's literally sponge and jam. We thought each episode we talk about what's on our plates and the food we're eating, the mood we're in, and the things we are viewing that are influencing and entertaining us. So what is your food, mood and viewed?
My food, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, and it's a little bit of a cheeky title, but it's called Christmas crack.
No.
It's a very American thing. If you imagine a small base, so your Ritz biscuits on the bottom, toffee in the middle, chocolate on top, and then something crunchy like an M&M soaked into the chocolate. It is pure sugar. It is not great for the fact that I am diabetic, but I love it. And I made some just to test the recipe for, giving out as Christmas gifts. On the other side of what's on my plate, I had an insanely large red cabbage at the weekend.
I love red cabbage.
Well, and I have never made red cabbage, like what I call Christmas red cabbage. So I made Christmas red cabbage last night, and half of it's gone in the freezer and half of it's ready, well, for probably a week of dinner, to be fair. But talking about insanely large, I've also got an insanely large crumpet on my plate literally right now.
I love crumpets, especially soaked in Marmite, which is not traditional, but it's my favourite.
I'm down for the Marmite. As long as the butter's gone all the way through, I'm good with Marmite. My mood, last week when we were chatting and planning this, I said, I just feel like I've just got to do things that give me some energy. I think what I realised was I had a lot on my mind, and I feel like over the weekend I've made some decisions, and I'm very much someone who, once I've made a decision, I can relax. I was practicing some good health techniques, so I've been doing EMK Fit's Hitmas, brilliant, basically workouts to Christmas music. I mean, what more could you want? Getting in a bit more nutrition, a little less caffeine, and also at the weekend, just getting outside, going for walks, all those things that I feel have made me feel much more energized now. And in the spirit of Christmas, what I have viewed, I have started on the Christmas movies. I went straight in last week with Noel. This weekend, I watched Mistletones, which is like pitch perfect, but Christmassy. I love Home Alone. But because it's got Carol of the Bells in it, and to me, Carol of the Bells is for Christmas Eve. So that's kept for later on. What about you? What is your food, mood and viewed?
I must say, just before I do my own, I've never ever watched Mistletones or Noel, so now you've given me two new ones to watch.
Amazing.
I would say my food at the minute is probably the same as the rest of the nation. Baking banana bread, because that became a bit of a thing near lockdown. I've always liked banana bread actually, and I always like to spread Nutella on it, because I think warm banana bread with Nutella, you can't beat it. There's no better cake than that. Then we all went a little bit banana bread bored because we've made it so often, and so instead we started making lemon cake, which is delicious.
Oh, I love a lemon cake.
Yeah, and then to top off all of the different types of cake, I've known my whole life and just chosen to avoid the fact that I am allergic to dairy. Instead, this week I have had so many allergic reactions and have decided to be permanently dairy free. Wow. So that's quite a big decision, and so I'm such a chocoholic, and so I was feeling a little bit low, and so I thought, what can I do about this? And found the most incredible dairy-free chocolate cake on BBC.
Wow.
And oh my goodness, it's amazing. And we made that and have eaten half a cake between the lot of us, which was absolutely incredible. I would also add that I'm a bit obsessed with Jamie Oliver.
Yeah, and so this might come up a lot.
Yeah, I love Jamie Oliver. I think he's brilliant. And so I bought his 7 Ways book, which is his newest one. And we've been working our way through the recipes of sort of healthy dinners. It just made dinner time a lot less boring. So I've been really enjoying that throughout the week.
Amazing. And Jamie, if you're listening, we'll have you as a guest anytime.
Anytime. I think he's amazing. I think he's brilliant. Then I guess for my mood, as I've kind of tied that in a little bit with food, I've had a bit of low energy, but that is my absolute own inflicted dairy self. I've just been just having a hell of a lot of dairy, which makes me quite tired. It's probably an unusual thing. I'm not sure if it's common or not, but if I do indulge in too much dairy, I get quite sleepy. and low energy, quite fatigued. And so I've been feeling a little bit like that. But I'm hoping next week I shall be much more upbeat now I've given up the dairy. Viewed now. This is a bit of a family obsession. It's not recent. It came out years ago, but I love Smallville.
Oh my
I don't know how
God.
you feel.
Yes.
So I've rewatched so many different things during lockdown. Game of Thrones and some of the films like Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing. And I was in the mood for something a bit more wholesome. And Smallville is definitely wholesome. It's that thing where when I was younger and I was growing up, it would kind of give me the morals and life lessons, and you must continue to be a good person. And I love the parents, Martha and Jonathan.
Yeah.
They're always so good, and it's so nice, and it gives you quite a warm feeling to watch it.
So Smallville's like when he was a teenager, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Superman the early years. So it's really wholesome and amazing, but there's that weird, wacky people with powers, excitingness, and there's a really amazing love story in it as well. So, I mean, that's what got me hooked.
Have you seen any of the Christmas adverts?
I have seen a couple. I've seen the Sainsbury's one, and I've seen, of course, the classic Coca-Cola, the holidays are coming, Christmas lorry. Who doesn't love that?
Oh, yes. I wasn't that impressed by the Mr. Lewis one this year. I just loved the Sainsbury's advert, like the gravy one, and it got me thinking about Christmas traditions, because it's kind of all about like Christmas tradition of the dad doing the gravy, and the dad has the best gravy. So I wondered, do you have any Christmas traditions?
We have a few. I guess we've got more of a Christmas Eve tradition than a Christmas Day tradition. My mum and I will wake up at 6 a.m. like crazy people, and be the first in line at Marks and Spencer's in Maidstone.
Love it.
We've got quite a nice food hall there, and the shelves are always bare later on. And it's the one time of year where we'll go all out and spend a good amount of money on food, because the rest of the time we're kind of Aldi shoppers and quality stuff for good prices, whereas this is very indulgent at Marks and Spencer's. But I love it. Everything's slathered in butter. It's delicious.
Says the person who's dairy free.
Yeah, well, I've already notified my mum that I'm dairy free now, so she's gonna, because every year actually my Christmas dessert is profiteroles, because I don't like Christmas pudding. So now I'm gonna have to find a dairy free option, but I'm sure that M&S will not fail me, because
Definitely
it's
not.
delicious.
Definitely not.
And then I guess our Christmas Day, our kind of tradition is that we always eat in the afternoon. I know some people will have sort of midday lunches, whereas we'll eat quite late in the afternoon, so it's almost like we're having it as a dinner, which I really like. And then because my parents are separated, I have Boxing Day, Christmas Day with my dad, so that's my tradition, is to see him on Boxing Day, and we kind of do a repeat of the day.
Wow.
Which I really like. 2 Christmas days, which I actually really love.
Which is slightly better than Dawn French's 4 Christmas dinners in one day, yeah?
I love that. They've put it on Netflix, haven't they?
Yes.
The Vicar of Dibley. And I've just binge watched it. I mean, over and over again, because again, it's so funny and it's so wholesome, and I love that.
Love it.
She just doesn't want to let anyone down, so she just keeps eating and eating and eating. And I feel like I can relate.
Yeah, me too. I quite often go to my sister's for Christmas, and the main traditions there obviously are then sorted by them. So I call her grandma, but she's my brother-in-law's mum. So she will always cook the turkey. My brother-in-law is the person to get the drinks flowing, but he has one other job, which is to buy the table presents, and it's very, very rarely not a book, and it's whatever mood he's in, to whether it's a serious book or a little bit cheeky. I have to make my grand's creme brulee. It's amazing. My nan used to say that it was a secret family recipe. I mean, I don't know how creme brulee comes to a farming village in Buckinghamshire. we found out it was actually a secret ripped out of Reader's Digest in the hairdressers. So not a traditional family recipe at all, but we still make it every Christmas. And my sister's like Mother Christmas, honestly. Like, you walk into the house, it's like Santa's grotto, and the whole thing is all about experience. It's amazing. I love it. I was chatting to my dad because my memories of Christmas are two really different ones. So as a kid, we went to my gran's, the creme brulee gran, and we'd have a massive family meal together, and it was a whole day event. There were games in the morning. My cousin and I'm just cringing at the thought of it. My cousin and I always put on a play or a talent show. I mean, my poor parents. Dinner always had to have at least 10 vegetables or it wasn't Christmas dinner. Probably about 10 desserts as well, and we'd always sneak up to the study where the desserts were kept because it was a cold room to see what she had made for us. But we always had to stop for the Queen at 3:00. But as a teen, my dad quite often worked Christmas, and so my mum started this sort of tradition, I guess, of she would hire a hall on Christmas Day and basically open it up to anyone who would have Christmas on their own and would cook Christmas dinner. Yeah, she would just do that. But the one rule that we've always had, and the one tradition that is stuck, even at my sister's house, is you don't get presents till after lunch. So we're allowed one in the morning and our stocking, and that's it.
That's a lovely tradition from your mum. That's really admirable. I like that a lot. And my mum is also a waifs and strays person, so we will bring along anyone we can find, which I really like. And I've had many a friend who's joined us over the years. Yeah, which is lovely. I remember it being a lot more exciting when I was younger, but in a different way, because I still feel excited for it now. You know, it felt exciting leaving the things out for Santa with my sister, and putting the milk and the carrot and just everything felt really magical. And I'd always try and stay awake, even if my eyes were just exhausted, to think like, will I catch anyone? Will I see anyone? Will I see Santa leaving the presents? But I'd always end up falling asleep. But it would be more a case of like anticipating the list that we'd given my mum of presents, and my mum will always go all out, even now. But at the time it just felt very exciting, and there was always, even if we'd ask for a list of presents, we'd always get something that was a surprise. Now I don't feel like surprises hit as good as they do now as when we were young.
Yes.
So I remember one year we got a doll's house, and they were so expensive, and so my mum had gone to a friend who was a carpenter and had asked if he could make one for us instead.
Wow.
Which was amazing. And even though that was a cheaper way of doing it, it was so much cooler because it was handmade.
Yes.
And everyone that came around would say, wow, that's so cool, where did you get that from? And my mum had it made by her friend, and good job she's got all these artsy friends. But it was really amazing, and it was probably one of the best Christmases that I'd had with my sister. And I also feel quite grateful for having siblings at this time of year, or a sibling I should say, because I actually live with two people who are only children. And they always say they wish they had siblings at this time of year, because I think it makes you more excited to go home and be with them.
Yeah, definitely. I remember getting a book one year, and it was the story of you with Father Christmas, and it would have like elements of your life in it. And I remember getting that from Father Christmas, and it was all about me and my sister and my brother and our adventure with Father Christmas. And the most amazing bit in my mind was at the end, it said what my present was, and that was the present that I got for Christmas. And I just thought it was so magical.
Oh, bless.
Is it okay? We've just talked about family and liking being around family, but is it okay if on Christmas Day I need some time on my own?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I feel like it should just be the norm.
Yeah.
If that's what you need.
I think for me that would be, even being with family but out on a walk and in my own headspace might be good. But I'm really aware for some people, eating in front of people and around the table and all that kind of thing can be quite overwhelming. And I think Christmas can be, it's a lot of sound, it's a lot of colour, it's a lot of everything and excitement. And sometimes that can cause tension because everyone's almost wanting it to be the best day. And I wonder if this year there'll be a lot of that, because people want it to be the best day because the rest of the year's not been as great. And I was thinking for people that that really struggle eating in front of other people. And I was looking up on the Beat website, they talked about if the idea of sitting around a table for hours, if it feels overwhelming, to have a chat beforehand and agree on the amount of time to spend at the table and when that would be okay for you to leave, or also having something to play with. Beat is a charity that works with raising awareness on eating disorders, and actually they are going to be open on Christmas Day. So
Brilliant.
if anyone actually is struggling on Christmas Day, they can get in contact with someone there. So we'll put that all in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like you're right as well, because I hadn't really thought about that. I guess because this year itself, 2020, has been so stress inducing and isolating, people are gonna want to be together and feel like they've had the best day or the best Christmas that they can possibly have. There shouldn't be that pressure, really, either being with your family or being with a friend or even on your own. You can still have a wonderful day. It's just about how you enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I indulge at Christmas?
Oh, I love a good indulge. Just the problem with me is it starts on the 1st of December and runs all the way through to the 5th of January. So this year's a bit different because obviously there's not work parties. I'm also normally in rehearsals at the moment. Yeah, I think it's okay to indulge. I think my question would be, are you enjoying it? Because my thing would be that if there's food in front of me, I'll eat it. And I sometimes eat things, I hate food wastage, so I sometimes eat it so it's not wasted. And I can overeat and I know I'm overeating. And then it's not enjoyable anymore.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean by that. If there's food in front of you, you'll eat it. I won't always do that if it's vegetables, but I will do it if it's sweet things, because I have a real sweet tooth and I know I'll just keep going and going until I feel sick. It's a really bad habit, and it's one that I know that several of my friends have as well. I would say that before Christmas, I can dread the food. Not dread eating it because it's delicious, but more of the amount of it, and you know that you're going to go away with the parcel, and it's going to be an all-day event. And I guess I would say as well, comments aren't helpful. If we put food on a plate, they'll say, "Oh, that's a lot of food." And then it makes me self-conscious, and then I think, oh, is it a lot of food?
Yeah.
And then I get very nervous of whether or not I should be allowed to eat that. I would always say that comments aren't helpful. It's up to the person as to what they're going to eat and how much of it. And perhaps if you're a care provider or something, you can have a talk with them later. But on the day, it's your own time, isn't it? It's how you feel about it.
Yeah. When the kids were small, not my kids, my sister's kids, we used to get Just Dance on Christmas Eve. And so between breakfast and Christmas dinner, to kind of keep the kids entertained, we would always do Just Dance. But I don't think it should be like that. I don't think we should think, oh, it's okay because I worked out, therefore I can indulge. Like you said, if you're enjoying it and you're with family, then go for it. I think if you know it's an issue and you know that you don't have self-control, then perhaps it's talking to someone who's going to be there who you trust for perhaps an unsaid code word or just something where you could give them a sign to say, I'm struggling to stop, or they could give you a sign to say, are you okay? Just, I think when it's said in words, like you said, comments hurt even if they're agreed comments. So perhaps having a sign,
even if it's in jest, it can make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. But I also think you can prepare for the food, which is what I tend to do. Oh, I know I'm going to probably overindulge a bit, and I might feel a bit guilty because I'm trying to be healthy, but I know that it's for a day or two. It's not forever.
Absolutely.
So you kind of prepare. And I love to cook as well, so there's never any wastage in our house because everything is turned into a bit like Bridget Jones, turkey curry. Everything is then reused until it's all gone.
My big thing is the sweet stuff that I get given, so lots of chocolates and those kind of gifts. And what I've started to do is I will choose what I want to keep but actually I just won't open some boxes and I'll pop them in a food bank or just give them away, because I just think I know I will overindulge, particularly when I come home and I'm on my own.
As long
And I
as,
don't think you have to have an all or nothing mentality, like, oh my gosh, I've indulged, that's the whole year gone. Because that's
yeah,
so not
exactly.
true.
It's true, but I would also say, is it okay if I enjoy the veg more than the meat?
Oh, do you know what? I'm just thinking, I think I do prefer the vegetables to the
Yeah.
meat.
The meat is always delicious, but it's never as good as all the trimmings in the gravy, I think.
Yeah. I pile up on the veg and then like the meat's somewhere underneath.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the roast potatoes that are super
Yeah.
crispy, and the honey. Some people do honey parsnips, but we do honey carrots and then
Yeah, we
leave
do
some.
honey carrots.
Yeah, because the parsnips are sweet on their own. And then you have some form of greens, whatever you may choose, and it's just so good, just covered in gravy. I mean,
Mm.
I won't say that I don't really enjoy the pigs in blankets, but yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean they're almost vegetables because they're small.
exactly.
So talking about green food then, is it okay if I actually like Brussels sprout?
Oh, I know so many people that would say, I would have always been somebody that would say no to that question, but actually cabbage has grown on me this year. So I would say it's semi-acceptable.
I mean, other people around me afterwards might not like it. We do one which I think possibly was one of my mum's recipes that my sister will do most years, which is chopping the Brussels sprouts up so it looks like mini cabbages. Shallow fry it or dry fry it in with bacon and chuck in some chestnuts as well. It's not my favourite, but I do like them. Self-care takeaway. That's my jingle.
Very good. Each episode we will be giving a self-care takeaway, which you can now download from a link in our show notes.
So this time round, we're thinking about Christmas self-care. And so we've made a plate with a kind of pie chart thing going on in the middle. Each of those sections is to think about one or two things that you can do in those sections that are good for your self-care over the Christmas period. So for example, move for me might be go for a walk with a friend each day. And then we've got rest and play. I thought play was an interesting one because I was thinking more the fun things like watching the movies, making Christmas food, if that's the thing that you enjoy doing, or making Christmas cards, the kind of play that we can get away with a bit more at Christmas that I think brings out our childlike self, which actually is quite joyful. You can download that from the link in our show notes, and we'd love to see what you put on yours. We've come to the end of our first ever show. And first ever Christmas special. But it's time to clear the tables. This weekend, I am part of a Christmas online show. And I can't believe I've taken this on, but I'm singing some Bublé because, Mr. Christmas himself. Favourite Christmas song at the moment for me is actually the one I'm singing. Normally I get sick of the songs I sing, but it's Baby Come Home and I'm loving singing it. I'm loving learning it. What about you? What is your favourite Christmas song?
Oh, I love Bublé as well because it's very Christmassy. I like Santa Baby by Eartha Kitt because it's a breathy, kind of sultry song, which I really like. I like all the upbeat ones as well, but no, this one has been my favorite. I've been playing it for about a week now whilst we've been putting the tree up and thinking about what we're going to cook. So we're going to have a small mini Christmas here before I go home. It's my absolute favorite to blast out of the Bluetooth speakers.
I think that we all need to embrace a little bit of Eartha Kitt singing Santa Baby this Christmas, and that can be part of our self-care to ourselves, to enjoy having a little dance and sing and feeling awesome, classy and sultry. That's our Christmas 2020. Yes Well, it's been great to start our first podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed it. We'd love to hear some feedback, so get in touch and we will be back with you in the new year. Bye.
Merry Christmas.